I'm Dr. Tony Bell. I run the X-ray laboratory in the Materials and Engineering Research Institute at Sheffield Hallam University. Okay, we're a materials science department, therefore we're interested in materials, glasses, ceramics, metals, metal coatings, but we also do work for outside customers, other universities, local industry, so almost anything can come through the door, but it's mostly ceramics, bits of metal, bits of glass. Well, here in the X-ray laboratory we've got one super duper new XRF spectrometer and also two X-ray powered diffractometers. And the two techniques are complementary because XRF of course will give you chemical element information, XRD will give you chemical content information if the sample is crystalline. And of course, if you know what elements are in the sample, it makes it much easier to interpret the XRD data. You know what elements to put into the search. Okay, well I've been here nearly 7 years now, and I had a rather old Philips XRF, which I learned XRF on, which is good, but it was an old instrument and we're trying to replace it. And eventually we got the funding to replace it. And the old Matematik's Pro could only go down to fluorine, and we're interested in lighter elements of fluorine. There's a big research group interested in borosilicate glasses, so the ability to detect light elements like boron is a big plus. So when we asked all the different manufacturers for what can you give us that can analyse for boron, Cymed and Fugaku gave us a very good possibility of something to buy. Well, with our new equipment, we can now detect the light elements. But there's also new things we'll be able to do with XRF we weren't able to do in the past, which I haven't fully investigated yet. You know, the fact to be able to look at smaller samples, liquid samples, do mapping. So who knows what's out there in the future, which we've never been able to do before. We have a fine electron microscope suite here as well, which is also used for mapping. So we'll be able to do mapping on different length scales from my electron microscope colleagues will be an interesting challenge. Well, we now have a spectrometer that's a lot faster than we had in the past. We can do a much wider range of samples much more quickly. So instead of maybe running 10 samples a day, we can do 20, 30, 40 samples a day. As many as we can load into the sample changer if we can get enough sample holders to fit. So maybe a PhD student whose research may have taken months to collect the data could do it in a few days. Yes, my working relationship with Cymed people has been fine so far. I knew some of them in advance before I started to buy an XRF from them, so I knew them from working in the XRF committee, the British Crystallographic Association. I have organised meetings in the past, which Tom has helped to organise. I've met Gary and other members of the Cymed people at conferences. So John's new to me, but so far his work has been great. He came to give us some training after the equipment was installed, and I was very impressed.